The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Hi guys, welcome back to Mr. vs. Mrs. LoGrasso vs. LoGrasso right here on Vince Russo's The Brand and the Big Vito Brand Audio. I'm the Mrs. part, I'm Noel. This is the Mr. part, he's Big Vito, and we are reunited once again, which is why our show is late, because plane, train, automobiles, you know. Old town. I was on the road, brother. I was on the road.
I've been tanning.
Yeah, like I came home and I was apparently part of an interracial marriage. Like, what is this? Like, you're so dark.
Well, here's how it goes, people. While the wife was on vacation, I really took extra care of my health, my look. I worked at it. Gym, tan, laundry, pool, happy hour. It works. Now, when you look at who was on vacation and who's on vacation.
Yeah, but I'm tan for me. I'm like.
It looks good. But anyway, it has been a happy 3 weeks. I am happy for my wife because she got to go home and she got to visit her fam. She's very happy. Her heart is split, guys. Let's talk about family stuff, right? When your family is back north and you live in Florida, you miss the fam, right?
Right.
So when you miss the fam, your heart goes. And then when you're home, you're like, man, I want to be home. I want to be with the fam. I'm missing some stuff, the nephews, mom and dad, everything. And then when you come back home, like, I said to her, I said, I went to the gym early. I didn't play ball this morning, right? I knew she came home, so I thought, let me spend some time. So she goes, let's sit on the lanai. So we sit on the lanai. This is kind of different when you come home because it looks like resort living is really a big difference when you live in Florida opposed to living up north. So, but all in all, it makes you appreciate your home when you come home because what you work at all year, what you work for, having a good house, having a good living, trying to live a healthy life. Do I miss some things about being home? 50-50. You know what I mean? Would I like to see my brothers, my nieces and nephews who I never seen, and that's like, just the norm? Of course. But when it comes to overall living, I'd rather be in Florida. I'm at peace. I'm my happy place.
I'm super split because I love the life that we live here, and I got my Disney World here, and I got my son lives here. But back home, I've got these little nephews that I'm super attached to. Well, one's not so little. One's way bigger than me now. He's 15. He's going to be 16. But the other one's little, and he's super attached to his Aunt Morty, he calls me. It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard. Guys, you know what?
Yeah.
It's a tough choice when you decide. Like for me, I am a world traveler, so I've lived everywhere in the world. So like when you talk about picking up and moving and getting a claim to just, I can go and I can live anywhere. Some people can't do that and they can't leave the nest. And it's tough on people. It's hard because they don't like change. They can't mix, can't do that.
And where I come from, almost nobody leaves. It's one of those places where everybody goes, someday I'm going to get out of this crummy town, and then nobody gets out of the crummy town. So when I come home, then I want to see everybody because everybody still lives in Coatesville, which is where I'm from. Everybody still lives there. So I'm like running around. I still didn't even see half my friends because I just was so busy. I got to see my grandmother. That's another thing. My grandmother is still alive and kicking in her 90s. In great shape. She looks fantastic. She said to say hi. Phenomenal. Got to see her. I haven't seen her in more than 2 years. Because COVID hit and I was supposed to go home, and then I couldn't see her when I went home in October. So I finally got to see her. But I got to see some of my friends. I got to see Chris. He does my tattoos. We've been friends forever. And
Chris, by the way, is a great tattoo artist.
Amazing.
And it's one of Beck's childhood friends who happened to develop himself into being not only a good tattooist, but a good father of his children.
Amazing
and
father.
a good family man, and he's remarried to a wonderful lady. So, I mean, it's all a positive thing.
We're looking forward to going home in October. Vito's going to try to come home because we want to do some stuff with them. They want to do some Halloween stuff, and Halloween's my favorite holiday. So going home and going to do like one of the like cool penitentiary things or scary things. We're going to go home and get to do that with them, and it's great. He actually shared with me some pictures of us when we were younger.
Did he really?
Yeah, that were like
That's
stuff
cool.
I haven't seen in years, like us going to like the junior prom and stuff. I haven't seen these since I was a kid, you know. And he's like, look at this, like his mom saved everything, so she has all her stuff.
I don't know
It's
what's
really
a great
cool.
thing, guys, and this is something that you got to be proud of in like a lot of ways, right? Now, for me, I am friends with a lot of my ex-girlfriends that my wife talks to. So, like when my wife, she goes home, Chris and her were together as kids, and they went to the junior prom, they went to high school together. So it's like, it's nice. And he, you know, he does her tattoos, which is very cool. And it's good when you still have childhood friends who know you. And, guys, what's important is when you still get along with your exes, is not every friggin' thing has to be a dramatic breakup and oh my god and all this stuff. You just gotta be cool about things, you know? And one thing I could say about the ladies that I've been with, they all speak respectfully of me, and I never treated anybody, you know, like, you know, dirty or anything like that. You know what I mean? Everybody has differences. Like, you know, obviously every relationship has differences. That's why you split. So, but, you know, overall, guys, it's nice when my wife can go home and she can see her friends. It doesn't matter if they're exes or whatever. As long as she's happy and she goes home and she has a pleasant time, that's the main thing.
I had a great time. I went to dinner with my girls. I got to give a shout out to the people at Harry's. There's a place that used to be just Harry's Hot Dogs, but now there's a lounge. They got a sushi place across the street. They brought, and I saw South Philly Neen and DJ Dan, Danny J. We went to Harry's one night, and they came down with a plate of nachos like you wouldn't believe, and they made the nachos legitimately into Mickey Mouse because I was home. Which is crazy. I love it. I love it. And I promised Mom we would take her, because it was my mom's birthday, so I stayed extra for her birthday and Mother's Day. Promised we would take her to Rocco and Anna's because she's never been there. And my dad is like not going for some reason, so I said we would take them over to Rocco and Anna's because that's your place. That's Vito's little Italian home away from home. That place was perfect. The Sinatra music and just the art on the walls and the food. Oh my God, the food. But all in all, wonderful 3 weeks. I had a great time with my nephews. I went to the zoo and pet all the animals at the zoo. There's a zoo there. I love animals. Everybody knows that. I was at everybody's cats all over me and birds flying in and deer. You know what was weird? The deer lined up on the road when I came home. It's my Snow White syndrome. It happens all the time.
No, it's very good. You know, and yesterday when she came home, I took the wife to Old Town, another favorite place. We had some drinks, we listened to some good music, we walked around, went to some stores, did some shopping, and we sat there for karaoke, but there's some horrible howling people.
I couldn't even, and that one girl was so good. Amazing girl. I don't know what her name was. She was amazing. She sang in English and Spanish. I was like, holy crap. But then the next guy got up and killed the town. Killed the town. I looked at Vito, I was like, he's killing the town. And he killed it and we left. But the guy that sang, what was that? The guy that sang, his name was Bill D. Williams, the Black Cowboy. He's wow. Billy D. Williams.
But it was pretty cool. And like I got there a little bit before my wife.
We do this kind of cool thing. We should tell people. We never get to do this because I don't drive. So when I come home, Vito doesn't get me at the airport. I mean, I'd like if he did sometime, but if it's like during the day and the lights, I don't care. I take an Uber and I meet him somewhere for a date. The last few times I flew by myself, I meet him for a date. And the people at the airport are great. Thank you to Orlando Airport. They really take care of me. They wheel me right out into my Uber, which is great. And then I meet him for a date, and he's like, want to meet me at Old Town for Mother's Day? And I did, but I didn't step foot into the house till after 11, which is why the show is late, because I was swelled up like a little balloon from standing up. Vito made me go to bed.
No, plus, before she went to bed, She walks into a food festival that I prepared for her with her little favorites. She had her favorite glass out, plate out, knife and fork. I made her favorite food. I got her favorite pizza, breadsticks, everything. So she had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day.
He used, what kind of sauce did you use on my pasta?
Goomba sauce.
Goomba sauce.
The sponsor of the big Vito brand. And you know what, guys? I even threw in a little garlic. No wonder you like it.
He used garlic, and he never uses garlic. I go home and I'm like sucking up all the garlic because Vito never uses it. But you used garlic. It was delicious. Goomba sauce, guys, get it at thesaucefella.com. It's our sponsor for the Big Vito brand, and this food is delicious, and Vito made me my welcome home pasta. So thank you, Mike, for the lovely sauce. And thank you guys for trying Goomba. Now, Vito, let's get down to a little business because we have some tasks at hand. Apparently, our last podcast, people were raving about because we talked about something we never talk about in the podcast, but we talk about at home, this kind of stuff, and we decided to bring it to the people. We talked about the UFO that the government has confirmed is a UFO of some sorts, and we voted on whether you thought it was spy equipment. I thought it was actual time travelers. Which is actually a running theory. That's not even out of the question. Everybody's like, really? That's one of the government's like running theories, is that it could be this. And they're going to release this information in June. Now, Vito, you chose spy equipment. You won!
That's awesome. I made an educated guess of what I thought. Not just some bullcrap, but we really got deep into it.
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
Then you want to know something else, guys? You know, like revelations, things we don't really talk about. But I figured we'd dabble in some things because it's just like, you know, I have been told that I need to open up on some things like during the podcast, right? Which is pretty cool. So I always look at my boy Rob Van Dam, right? He's a wrestler. He's a Hall of Famer with the WWE. He's a friend of mine. We like each other's posts. But the one thing about him, and he was a big advocate of 420, right? So when you look at his posts and you see, what relaxes you, I started to, over the last few weeks, I've looked at different people's posts and said, you know what, maybe the 420 isn't a high thing, maybe it's a relaxing thing, it's a healing thing. So, sometimes, you have a judgment in being like, you're a little older and you know what it was used for, recreational, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in today's society, you really think about what it is used for. And you know what? I have to say, I would not do it because, I'm pretty cool with what I'm doing. The one thing I have elaborated on, the one thing I do, which is cool, is I do take the melatonin gummies before I go to bed, and that's been helping me sleep. And I'm not popping up all the time at night, and I'm able to sleep comfortably. So that's a good antidote for me. But the 420, I know you've had some thoughts on using it for your own, like with the oils and all that stuff.
I've used CBD gummies to sleep in the past. My big problem is that when you have a chronic condition, and certain states are like this, and Florida is one, they do not give you pain medication, and you can understand why. Because people get addicted to it. I've had friends of mine beg me not to take pain medication. They see, my neck actually gets stuck. People don't even realize that. It's happened on the podcast, where my head will get stuck down, and I can't move my head. So what they're saying is that the CBD, which is part of marijuana without the high part, it actually relaxes you. So I took some for sleeping and it did help, but I'm thinking about moving towards taking it for pain management because I have a really difficult time and my pain gets beyond what a Motrin, because what I have is a very severe arthritis, and it's from the top of my spine to the bottom of my spine, and it's in my hands and elbows. So I'm thinking of moving on to something like that. In fact, I know I'm going to move on to something like that. I just have to go see the doctor. But like you said, there's different alternatives to things. And you've been really good about opening up to stuff lately where you're like, okay, I'm going to try this. And you always have trouble sleeping. Like you are up and down, up and down, up and down. He's up at like 6 a.m. if he went to sleep at 4. Like he's just how he is. It's good that you're trying new stuff like that. It's good.
I try, you know what, sometimes
thing.
you got to open your mind, like, and I am so into like health stuff and looking good, having good skin, having a good clean body. My wife noticed, like, when I came home, like, I says, all right, did I lean out a little more? Because she has this, it was a good test, because being home and looking at yourself every day, you don't see a damn thing when you're training. Now, it is the truth, guys. I swear to God, if you were in bodybuilding or you were ever into like how your body looks, you don't ever think you lose a pound. You don't ever think you lose nothing. You just see this image of you. But then when you have somebody like my wife came home, so it was afterwards, and she loves wearing when I wear jeans and no shirt.
Ooh, jeans and no shirt.
So I said to her, I took off my shirt. I says, okay, do you see a difference that you've been away for 3 weeks? She told me, yes, big difference. Like my shoulders cut up, everything cut up. And you know what? I work at it really hard, and I'm doing it cleanly.
Can I interject something?
Go ahead.
He's growing back the beard, guys. The magical beard he's surprising. He wouldn't FaceTime me and my nephew the last few days, and I'm like, what? What's up with Uncle Vito not FaceTiming? And so when I rolled up in my Uber yesterday, I'm like, that motherfucker grew his beard back, and I love the beard, and I don't want you to dye it. Like, I know guys like think they should dye their beard, and there's been all these debates where guys should not dye their beards. Let the natural color come in because that's sexy. Don't dye it. Leave it. Trim it up, but leave it.
Now, you want to know what I did, guys, right? I secretly, during one of my adventures, like when I take care of myself, my eyebrows and everything, right? Here's another thing with the eyebrows, right? Lady jacked up my eyebrows so bad I had to let them grow in, right?
Oh my God, it was a new lady.
It was like it was a new lady. I will not let. So I said, that's it. One lady, one way. That's it. So now they are fully grown in, right? So when I went to do that, I went next door to the barber shop and I introduced myself because I went to the hood to get it done. But I went next door.
You always go to the hood though when you do it.
So I talked to the guy. I said, listen, this is what they charge me. And this is, so I sat down. He says, I says, yeah, but here's the thing. If you outline it, I have a shape and we can go from there. He says, I never thought of it like that. This is okay. So like he outlined it for me and it's been growing in. And I used this special cream. It's called the Vito cream and it comes in a little jar.
Hydro cream, yeah.
And it makes your beard grow, and you put it on a couple times a day. You put it on your eyebrows, and you put it on your face. And it is growing in so nicely. I am like very impressed because like this time, and believe me, I wasn't a facial guy, so my wife says, I'll grow a beard. I says, I can't grow a mustache, let alone a beard.
I was like, grow a beard. Tell your before we get into what the topic is, because we're so excited to talk to you guys, and we're together. We're like, blah, blah, blah. Tell them your ECW Skull Von Crush story. This is funny. I love this.
So they were trying to come up with things, for ECW, right? And they says, Vito, can you grow hair? I says, well, I think I could do the Legion of Doom thing. So I started drawing designs. If you look at the tapes, I could see designs in my head. I went to the hood and started drawing designs in my head. I had the beard growing, and you could see in some of the pictures that are in magazines, I actually had a beard. And then they said, Vito, I don't think it's working. It's like not coming out the way we want. I said, well, it's either going to be this friggin' skinny mohawk with some sides on the stuff, or like, there's different designs in my head, which I had. So that kind of like, it always fizzled out. And I says, okay, but there's one picture where you can actually see a beard and you could see it grow in, and it was like.
Do you know where you can see the designs in your head? RVD versus Skull Von Crush.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, at the arena. That's when you can, if you look, like, I don't know if there's no network anymore. I can't go, oh, you're the network. It's on Peacock. I have to shut it on there. But if you look at that match, you can see his designs around his head for like this, like, it's almost like a crown, but it's like hood designs. Like, it's cool. I liked it, but
you know what, guys? We were trying different things, and then since I actually went ahead and did it, right, the first full time, all of a sudden, you're talking about in my 50s, I'm able to.
It takes a real woman to get a beard out of a real man.
I don't know about that. I think it just takes your hormones to really accept, hey, motherfucker, this ain't 1960 anymore.
Yeah. Get your shit together, son.
Get your shit together.
Get your shit together.
So
Okay.
what kind of, I know we have a great subject for the people tonight.
Oh, we do, and I'm so excited.
Go
Vito,
ahead.
we talked about this last week. I do a once-a-month show with Foxy, and Amber on our Twitch channel. That's called Down the Rabbit Hole, right? So Down the Rabbit Hole is about all these topics, kind of like our one we did with aliens. We went wholeheartedly in depth on our last episode about time travel. And we talked about all these possibilities of time travel and things people brought up, examples of people where they think time travel has occurred. People that have showed up in city streets and they're unidentifiable, but they have money from 1800s in their pocket. And this is early 1900s, before you could sit down and go, oh, that dude set that up on television. Like he saw it in a movie. No, there's lots of cases and photographs and people missing and people investing in the stock market big and then disappearing. And that stuff is still happening today. So here's what I want our topic to be. Do you believe time travel is possible? Do you think that these cases are all phony? Or do you think that maybe there's a possibility of time travel? Now, you're always the skeptical one.
I have a theory. I want you to go first because I'm going to blow everybody away.
Okay. I believe time travel is possible. It has a lot to do with the theory of relativity and light and black holes. And they're even saying now they do believe it. Now, see, I believe that the UFO was people from the future. So you know I believe in time travel. Okay, so I believe time travel is possible with using science and black holes. Now, I want to get in depth with this even further. I want to know also, too, who you would go back and talk to, not a family member. Because everybody would say, like, I would go back and talk to my granny or my pop, and you go back and talk to your mom and your dad. Don't want that. I want to know who also, too, you would go back and speak to and have a conversation with, what event you might like to see, Back to the Future style kind of thing. So I'm saying I believe time travel is possible using black holes and the theory of relativity. Vito, do you believe time travel is possible? I'm holding on to my chair.
I believe time travel is possible.
We're both a yes?
But my philosophy is different.
And that's where the vote is.
When people say time travel and they go back in future, back in the past, let's say back in the past for me, I think when people are induced in a coma and they're in a lengthy coma, I think they're able to go back and see and talk and be with different people in their lives because that's what they're missing. That's why they're in that state, so they can move forward. Okay, just follow me here. Now, when you're in a coma, nobody knows what you're doing or what you're doing. You're just asleep. But during that sleep, right? Guys, where does your mind go? If I was in a coma, I'd want to be safe. And I'd want to talk. I mean, I know you put specifics on it, right? Mm-hmm. But I'd want to go back to my original home where I could be safe. Because you're hurt. You got to say, where was the place you were safest? You go back home. Your original home. Where your mother and father were. And you say, okay, this is my safe house. When you talk about who would you talk to out of all the people who passed away, and you talk about not mother and father. Right?
Yeah, I want to do non-family, because everybody would talk to their family. Who would you do that wasn't your family? Who
I
would you
have
go back
one
and...
person I would talk to.
Who?
I would talk to my basketball coach in high school.
Really? No historical figure, no nothing, just Your basketball coach in high school. But you were very close to your basketball coach in high school.
I had two basketball coaches in high school, Coach Schroeder and Coach Eisenberg. Coach Schroeder, he coached, I played for FDR, Coach Vinny Johnson. He said, Vito, you're just like Vinny Johnson. You got that. You got that. I said, you know, he used to let me practice. He was so hard on me. He used to say, Vito, basketball's not everything. He was right.
Yeah. He was right.
He was right. I had Madison Square Garden, I played. I had all these things. But I said, Coach, I'm going to play ball. I'm going to do this. I said, Vito, life is different. I was 16, 17 years old. But I was going to play in Division One. I was going to go to the pros. I was going to play ball. He was right. I did not listen. And if I can go back and talk to everybody who tried to tell me that playing basketball, that was my safety net, that got me out of my house and my drama and mom and dad and brothers and whatever. But if it wasn't for that, having the opportunity to play ball, which my mother provided for me, who knows where I'd wind up. Well, Coach Schroeder, Vito, come over here. Sit in my office. Then he'd tell me about life and things. But then it was Coach Eisenberg who let me run with the Bulls. And I became MVP to Cougar tournament. And then I had the Daily News, I had the Post, I had this, I had that, and I shined. I was captain of the basketball team. Pretty big stuff.
You're still champ of the Cougars. Can I give you a hug? I feel like I need to give you a hug. That was so sweet. You're so cute. You did good things, Vito.
When you talk about that, guys, that is your basis. That's how you jump from here to here and what you accomplish in life. If you never listen to the people in high school, Vito LoGrasso, you are not passing my class, and I don't give a shit if you read the New York Post and Daily News in my class. You're not passing unless you get a 90 on my final. I did it. I don't know how the hell you did this, but now I have to pass you. God damn it. It's because you jackass, you put the friggin' graded papers right there in front of you.
Oh my God, you cheated to get a 90. Oh my God.
2, Daily News.
You cheated to get a 90. Oh my God, Vito. So back to the, that's so typical you. Back to the subject at hand here is that you think, and you know what's funny is I'll bring something up when I make this statement. So you think it's more when it's more of a mental thing, a time travel, than it is a physical thing. Like I'm saying physically you can travel, but for you, you're saying mentally there's a capability.
Mentally you can go, and mentally in the, what is it called? Paranormal, paralegal.
Psychic, paranormal, I don't know what you
Hold on, let me think for a second.
Okay.
What are those people who believe in the ghosts?
Paranormal, you had it right.
Paranormal, okay. So when you talk about the paranormal, right, and you're in a subdued state, I believe you actually do go back and you talk to those people because you're floating. You're floating. You don't know where you are, but you're floating with a purpose and say, okay, I can go back in time because you're free. Your body is here, but your spirit is able to go.
So here's basically what it is. I believe it's scientific and you believe it's spiritual. So we both say there is time travel, and I think that should be the vote. Is time travel a spiritual thing or is time travel a science thing? Now let me blow your mind. When I was doing our show with Foxy and Amber, there is a gentleman who was a teacher, and I wish I had my laptop in front of me because I have the exact specifics, but there was a gentleman who was a teacher that got hit in the head and went into a coma. While he was in the coma, he believes, 100% believes this is true, that he traded places with somebody in the future, even further forward than we are now. And he gave certain examples of things that they had, and that there was a war and there was only so many people left. He gave all these examples of things, but when he came back, he wrote it all down in journals. He didn't wake up and go, oh my God, I'm Ron Jones from 2023. Like, he didn't do that. He journaled it. And he went back to teaching. And he actually brought he was a professor, and he actually brought one of the students home and said, listen, when I'm gone, I want you to share this. I was this person for these several months. I was in a coma in the future. I had a family, I had a wife, I had this and that. And he gave actual examples. So that's almost exactly like what you were saying. But what I'm saying too, he really said, I lived this life with another family as another person who was also teaching in the future. We traded spaces. He laid in this coma while I lived his life. And then when I came back, he went back, and I don't know what happened to my family there. So he just wrote everything down in these journals with no intention of publishing them, shared them with the student who went forward and published the journals after he was gone. So that's almost like what you were saying. So guys, here's the deal. You got 5 days to vote for, do you think time travel is a spiritual experience or a scientific experience? I love that we're getting into these things that we talk about now and we can share them with everybody. Guys, vote on Twitter at Magic Tea Spiller. That's me. And you can vote for 5 days, and we'll come back and we will tell you the winner. Who is the winner? Do you think time travel is possible in a DeLorean? Like Back to the Future? Nah? Nah, dog? Nah? You don't
It's a
think?
movie.
But who knows? There's been things in movies. Have you ever gone back and watched those things of the future?
I am the future.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Vito, do you have anything that you would like to add before we close the show? You're such a nerd. I can't. Even the little smile is so nerdy.
Have you ever seen anybody who owns a company who gets insulted every week?
Yeah, but I run it, so I'm allowed to insult you.
But I own it. It doesn't matter who runs it. I own it. And then, you sit here and get insulted by not only the producer, who actually does the work, but then the fans outside, and they have things to say and everything. So, you get insulted once, you get insulted twice, you get insulted 3 times.
I would be afraid, but I heard Skull Von Crush is not the toughest name.
Then you get told from voices beyond, that Vito needs to change. How many times can you change?
You can change over and over again. That's the great thing about life, is you can always change.
But the one thing that will always stand is that Vito LoGrasso is the clone of Yul Brynner, and he is one handsome motherfucker.
By the way, give me a pound. Thank you for hanging up my Yul Brynner commemorative plates. I greatly appreciate that. You guys have no idea how cool our house is. No idea. Yul Brynner commemorative plates.
Thanks to the BIGV from the LOG.
Thanks to me finding the plates.
But I hung them. I got it done just like your bedroom. Has a beautiful new blue sequence.
The guest room.
It's your out room.
It's my den. I had it in there, and I play video games and do my things. I love that room. That room is the jam. It's all mermaids in there.
With the brand new bed that you got.
Yes, I got a new bed.
Beautiful, and a comforter. You're able to lay down, be comfortable. Your body doesn't hurt.
That's where my Xbox lives.
Right. So, guys, if anybody ever says anything about Vito LoGrasso, he does provide and make things comfortable, because when my wife came home and she's looking at our house, she goes, motherfucker, This
Never
one.
said
Yeah, you said
motherfuck.
I said, motherfucker, this is one fucking house. This looks like a resort.
Guys, does that sound like I say that, or does
She
it?
did.
You
Because,
said
because she's got to get back to reality. Because when she's sniffing, cow manure and looking at the grass.
No,
grow,
it smelled amazing there. They had all their flowers coming out. It was beautiful. There was
Amish
little
like
deers.
people.
I'm not Amish. By the way, my mom said, you're full of shit with this possum pie thing. Nobody eats that. She's not Ellie Mae Clampett.
The Pirates do.
Don't mention that name on this podcast ever.
Why is it true?
No, you're just a nerd. Okay, guys, closing it out.
Daily News.
You can check us out on social media under the Big Vito brand. We're on TikTok. We throw out new TikToks with matches and everything. But the big thing we do, the big thing right now is Patreon, Patreon. Go to patreon.com/the Big Vito brand. Vito does this show with Robbie at Virtue that is amazing. It is, I crack up every time. It's called MOB, Men of Business. And if you want to know what it's like to have three guys in three different parts of their life come together and talk about what it's like, and it's amazing. They talk movies from different points of view. You got David is jumping back into the game, divorced, starting dating again. Vito has been married a long time. Robbie, who just got married, bought a new house. And they all get together and they give each other hysterical advice. Virtue's out here sliding into people's DMs and asking for advice on dating apps. It's hysterical. Go check it out. Patreon.com. It comes, /the Big Vito brand comes out every week. We got I Love Viti. We have matches from Japan that you've never seen with Vito. We've got on the road where there's all kinds of stuff with me and Vito trying new things. We'll be doing, some on the roads coming up. We've got some more Disney parks on the list that we're going to hit and some other things that we're going to do.
Hopefully.
I have some plans for June with Nick J. We're going to go see the new aquarium in Orlando. Nick G, we're going to go see the new aquarium in Orlando with the biggest walk-through aquarium. That'll be cool. Do that. You can come if you want. Want to come to the aquarium?
No.
We'll take you for drinks. All right, well, then he won't come. But the rest of us are going to come. You'll get to see that. So make sure you check that out, patreon.com/the Big Vito brand. That's it. That's all I got for you today. Oh, and check out Goomba Sauce, thesaucefellas.com. And that's it.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
This is MOB, Men of Business, with your host, Big Vito LoGrasso.
Within 5 minutes, she's sitting over there talking to me, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. To make a long story short, I did not have to slide into anybody's DMs. I did not have to sign up for Plenty of Fish or Match.com. In the flesh, I exchanged Facebook information and cell phone information, and I now have somebody that I am communicating with that I know of the opposite sex. What do you guys think about that?
Good job, man. Get it done.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think it's pretty awesome, not for the fact that you actually met somebody at a party, but you're saving $8.95 at Plenty of Fish, and you're saving another $7.95 at the other place. So that's a $17 savings. And if you can make it without those, spending that money every month, I think it's awesome. Congratulations. Keep the digits close to your heart. Don't text her every day. Don't call a babe right away. Don't give her a bottom drawer. You sleep over, baby, I got things to do. I got training in the morning. You got to go. All right?
Now, typing the word babe versus saying it, is there a difference? Because I might have slipped up once on that already.
Well, if you did it one time,
it was late at night, and it was at night where we were drunk. Drink.
I get you. But just try. Like, here's the secret to this thing, all right? After you have, you consummate your relationships, you got to be super cool about it. You can't text her and call her the next day. Play it off. You know what I mean? Just like,
Don't take advice from him. He's wrong. Wrong. Don't take advice from him.
Well, I'm not going to go all stalker mode. Put it that way.
But it's nice the next morning to send a nice message or something. Don't listen to Vito. If you sleep with her and you don't message her, she's going to think you hit it and quit it. Do not listen to the bald man.
At least send her a rating out of 5 stars of what you thought the night before. I think that's the
Don't
only
Dave
thing.
Meltzer. Do not Dave Meltzer. Thank you.